So the start of the process was in high school. I talked to my pediatrician, and he told me that as far as like the surgery goes, is that I probably have to wait until I was in my 20s, so that my jaw would stop moving, and that's kind of what actually happened. Is that had I gotten the surgery in high school, my jaw would have continued to move and gotten worse. Because in high school, my bottom teeth were just a little bit in front of my top teeth, but now they're even worse. A couple centimeters or millimeters, I don't know the difference. Well, I know the difference, but and so he said, I would watch out. Maybe wait until you're in college or a little bit older. Luckily, I'm 24 right now, so this is actually the perfect time. But the first step, let's start right there. So the first step was getting my wisdom teeth pulled, and that was fun. I did it about 2 months before I was in Pride and Prejudice in high school. It was Mr. Bennett, and it was a funny process because I'd never had any sort of surgery before. I'd never been put under before, and I must say that to get my wisdom teeth pulled, I was very excited. Not afraid at all, and going into the office and everything. Like I don't even remember being afraid, like being scared or being worried. I was like, yeah, this is a sentence. I almost thought like it was going to be like getting my teeth cleaned, almost a routine. And so I think probably my favorite, or one of my favorite moments about that. I mean, it's not like one of my top 10 favorite things that ever happened to me, but one of my favorite things is when I came in there and they started to do the anesthesia. Is that I was like trying to be as conscious of everything around me. I was like, I need to remember this. I've got to remember this because how am I going to describe it later? And I sort of remember it, but I think the one thing that stood out the most, or I was like, oh, definitely remember this, is that they're like counting backwards from 10, and I'm like, 10, 2, and I remember feeling like I was being sucked into the ceiling, and it went black, and then I woke up. And I thought that was the funnest thing, because when I woke up, that was the first thing I remembered was going under. And then with the anesthesia wearing off, I felt like a slinky doll. I was just like all moving, all jaggedy. That was probably the most fun part. Is I've never felt that calm, that relaxed before. And so they put me in like a little closet. It felt like an hour, but I think it was like 3 or 4 minutes while they grabbed my mom from the lobby. And then afterwards, it was awful. My mom had to change the gauze and the cotton swabs in my mouth, and I'm screaming in pain because I'm confused. And again, it felt like days since she had been back, but she'd been gone for like 20 minutes getting my prescription filled, and I was just radical. So I hope that with this surgery, it's not going to be that bad, or at least not that bad on my end, because I was totally unaware of what was actually going to be happening afterwards. But this time I'm pretty prepared. So I have surgery in 2 days, and I'm not even worried about it. Like I'm more like excited about afterwards. Like for some reason, for the longest time, I thought after my surgery I was gonna have like a 2-week vacation from work. I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna write, I'm gonna exercise, I'm gonna play some video games, catch up on TV. I have like a long list of TV shows I need to catch up on, like True Detective, and I need to finish the rest of Breaking Bad. But I was like, yeah, it's gonna be a 2-week long vacation. But after talking to the oral surgeon and like the post-op stuff, they're like, yeah, you're probably gonna be asleep a lot of it, and you're probably gonna be icing a lot of it, and be worried about your meals. It's not really gonna be a vacation, and you're probably going to be like 6 weeks before you're going to feel anywhere near normal. And I'm like, okay, well, let's do it. So, sorry, but I digress. So step one was getting my wisdom teeth pulled. And then I tried to start the process my freshman year of college. We started getting the braces on, and my orthodontist was in Tucson, but I was in Flagstaff, so I had to go back and forth. And I think I made it like 4 to 6 weeks before I failed my English class, which was on Fridays, because I thought that if I brought my orthodontist appointment cards that they would excuse me from it, but going every Friday, missing every Friday's class kind of added up quickly, and the lady was a bitch anyway, so I failed my English class, or I was in the process of failing my English class, and I decided maybe I should postpone it until I was further into college or done with college. and then college, instead of taking 4 years, took 6 years. So now that's where I'm at. My first goal out of college, after doing shows at NAU and my whole life, decided that after graduation, that was what I was going to do. So first thing I did down here was got braces on. Went to an orthodontist, Dr. Danilick in Ahwatukee, who is awesome. Dr. D. Got arcades and ice cream. Plays Disney movies and stuff. Anyways, he's awesome. They like really helped me out because I didn't have any insurance. I couldn't really afford the braces. Like, we were like, okay, we can try to do this. We're gonna have to work really hard, and I didn't have a job, so I was like, well, I'm fucked. So they really, really helped us out to get the process started. And then I worked a couple odd jobs, and then I started working at Wells Fargo, and I was like, well, I like Wells. But I was really looking forward to the benefits of it. I was like, I don't even know if they're going to pay for my surgery. Doubtful, because any oral surgeon or anything I've seen online, it's like, you're going to have to pay for it out of pocket. No insurance company's going to pay for it. So I was like, oh, shit. But it was worth a shot. And I needed a job anyway. So I got a job at Wells and put the process through, or submitted the paperwork. I went to one oral surgeon in Gilbert, Dr. Wilson, and I really liked him. He was like a Tom Hanks. I mean, how can you not like Tom Hanks? And I was like, oh, cool. And this guy seemed nice. It was a little far, but I was like, okay, cool. And he like did my consultation for free, and it was like a 3D X-ray of everything in my head, basically, and that was kind of cool. And I was really feeling it. I was like, a lot of my decisions are made based off of like whether or not things are really working out and they're going well. I don't feel like 10 or 15 speed bumps along the way is perseverance. I feel like if it's not working out now, it's not going to work out then. And so there was a couple of speed bumps along the way, and then the office assistant just all of a sudden stopped returning my calls and forgot to put in the paperwork. I had to resubmit it. I had to resubmit it again, and then had to submit something else, and then I had to wait until a month before the surgery before the oral surgeon was even going to submit any more paperwork to see if it was covered by my insurance. It was like, I was like, what are you doing? Like, what? I'm trying to like shut up and take my money almost, and they wouldn't. They just would not do it. So after weeks, like 8 weeks of calling like 2 to 3 times a week, being like, can you please tell me the status of this? I need to know if it's covered or not. And they're like, okay. Well, the best answer I got was, they're like, well, you're pre-certified. So I'm like, okay, what does that mean? I'm pre-certified for a credit card. Doesn't mean I get it. So I asked Dr. D's office if they recommended anybody else, and they turned me on to Dr. Day. And I went out to Dr. Day's office. It's a little bit, I guess it's about the same distance and maybe a little bit closer than Dr. Wilson. And went into his office, and it was just like gangbusters. Like, he came in, he was like a total pro, and he's like looking at it. Takes like 10-15 minutes. He's like, okay, I already know what this is. He's like, it's going to be about an hour and a half surgery. This goes through it in detail. I ask him some questions, but I'm more overwhelmed because I'm like, this is really going well. For me to do it with Dr. Wilson, it was going to be about 5 to 6 hours, and then about like 4 to 6 weeks out of work before I was really going to start to recover. But with Dr. Day, he's like, I'll be in there hour and a half to 2 hours tops, and you'll be out of work for 2 weeks. You could take 6 weeks off, but you really only need to take 2 weeks. And I'm like, hell yeah! So I love this. And then the office assistant, she sat down and she told me the exact price. She's like, this is what we'll do. We'll submit the paperwork. We'll submit your insurance information today, and we'll take care of it. And I was like, okay, this is what I mean. This is like exactly what I'm looking for. Is I need everything to just sort of mesh well. Awesome. So I call back, and I call back, and I call back, and I feel like I'm hounding them, but they're like, no, call us. So finally I get wind, or I call them, and they tell me that my insurance is covering it. I've been pre-authorized, and I had to verify. I was like, what does that mean? Like, what am I pre-authorized for? And what was the particular word? I think she said that they It's been approved. That was the word. And she said, my surgery has been approved. And I asked her, what does that mean? And she goes, do you want the dictionary definition of the word approved? And I was like, no, I need to know what exactly that means in medical terms and insurance jargon terms and contractual terms. What does it mean? What does approved mean? And she goes, well, it means that your insurance is covering everything. You're covered. It's taken care of. Your insurance is taking care of it. And I was like, wait, what? And she goes, yeah, your insurance is taking care of it. And she was like getting insulted, like as if I was like purposely being stupid, and I wasn't. Believe me, I wasn't. And she's like, you're approved. And so I couldn't help it, but I just like burst into tears. And I was like laughing and crying at the same time. And I was like flabbergasted, I guess is the best word. I was flabbergasted. And she's like, well, I'm glad that you're feeling this way. I'm like, this is literally the greatest day of my life. For 24 years, I've worked up to this moment, and it's the greatest thing. I was really, really quite happy. And I was at work, and I went into the teller area, and I just started giving everybody hugs, and I started telling everybody how much, I just was so elated. I was just like, wanted to pass that positive energy on to everybody. And I was riding high for a long time, going into the holidays, November, December, just loving every bit of it. And then come January, getting closer and closer, we started setting dates. And I asked her, I said, I kept calling, I just wanted to know. I was like, so you said that I have to satisfy my deductible before the insurance will pay anything. I was like, do you know how much that is? And she's like, well, you have to talk to the insurance company. Miss Kim over at Dr. Day's office. She's like, well, you're going to have to talk to your insurance company. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. She's like, but you're going to have to wait until after the January 1st because their deductibles will change. Okay, cool. Wait until January 3rd or 4th, and I call the insurance company, and they tell me my deductible. So I call back, and she's like, well, yeah, you have to satisfy your deductible, and then the insurance will cover it. And I'm like, oh, okay. So my deductible is $2,000. And so I was like, okay, cool. I can take care of that. That's totally fine. Well, we get to the point, it's February 18th is the day that the deductibles due. And so I call her the day before. I'm like, okay, hey, I have my appointment tomorrow. How much do I bring you the check for the deductible or what? And she goes, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, do I bring you the check or do you submit the claim and then I reimburse you or what? How does it go? And she just stops and she goes, no, you pay the entire amount up front and then the insurance company will cover the rest. I'm like, wait, what do you mean? Please explain that. And she goes, you pay the $20,000 by tomorrow, and then the insurance company will reimburse you. I was like, oh, I'm confused. And she's like, that's what you have to do. That's what we've been talking about this whole time. And she's getting short with me. And I'm like, wait. No. Otherwise, every single time I called you, you would have told me that. I would have known that. It's confusing in your literature. It's confusing every time that I talk to you. It's miscommunication. And now I have to come up with $20,000 by tomorrow? I was like, we were perfectly okay with paying the deductible. Like, I got that. That's fine. It's all in the bag. But, like, $20,000 by tomorrow? And she's like, well, that's what you have to do. And the insurance will reimburse you. So I'm like, oh, fuck. I'm at work. I'm fuck. So I have about another half an hour on my break, and I call Rachel, my girlfriend, and I tell her, I was like, hey, you need to come over here because we got to figure something out. So just on a fluke, we're just like, you know what? Let's just apply for a loan. Maybe we can get something out of it. So we go to Wells, one right there, and we apply for a loan, and we apply for a $20,000 loan, and they don't give it to us, obviously. But they give us some of it, and so I'm like, okay, we need the rest. So we reach out to everybody we know, like in the last second. I was like, I know this is totally last second, and I know that nobody has like, I don't know, like $10,000 to $12,000 hanging around. But she gave us until Friday to pay her, and then we'll reimburse the whole amount, and we'll pay you back as soon as the insurance company pays us. I promise. And so, unfortunately, we don't get anything.